breaking down Monterey sports. This is the Plainsman Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back in. We're back in the high school fan zone, in the Plainsman fan zone, and we've done this throughout the spring. I'm glad we got, and I was a little bit worried, and I found out I didn't need to be worried. I didn't want to bother Monterey coach Jason Sims in the spring because they've had spring football the last few years, did not have it, so I could have bothered you earlier, but I bothered you this week. So Jason, we were just talking about this. We talked to Jay January about a little bit smoother transition this going into this offseason. That's the case at Monterey too. Just a quieter spring, let's put it that way. How comfortable has this been for you now that you've got that season under your belt, and you, much like Jay, you took a team to the second round of the playoffs, got some success, got some guys who kind of come back with confidence. How different has this spring been for you?
I mean, it's a completely different spring just because, last year we took over right before spring football. We hadn't done ran the offseason ourselves and just jumped into football and then into the summer and into the season. And so being able to get out of the season and progress this next group through in a kind of a normal fashion and doing it in the way in which we, which I've done with my other teams. We've ran off season differently and again, making different decisions as far as like no spring football. It's been smooth for me, and I feel like it's been really smooth for the kids and the coaches. It's been a really, really, really good spring, and it's nice when you don't have any hiccups.
And now that I think about it, not only was there stuff swirling around, also you got somebody called you at some point and said, "Oh, by the way, go run this ASCO All-Star thing for me too," which is an honor.
Yes.
But it's also like, oh, okay, I'm going to throw that onto my list of things to do here.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun. I enjoyed it. We got to get out there and hang out with the Emerald High coaches for a week and coach kids around the area. And, I'd coached in a few other all-star games in the past, so I kind of knew what it was like. And coached an Oil Bowl a couple of times, the Greenbelt Bowl. And so to be able to do the ASCO, it wasn't it wasn't a burden at all. We really enjoyed it, and it let us kind of do some things as a staff to get ready for football season, and we really enjoyed it. I thought it helped us.
You say that, and then I remember having a photographer go out and take some pictures, and that's what popped into my head at that time, is this gives them a chance to get used to coaching a game together under a little less stressful circumstance.
That's for sure. They got to see how I would put together a week, and it was a short week. You don't start a full week in ASCO. They start on Wednesday, but how we schedule practices and roll through things, and just what a football team feels like, I guess, under my guidance, and kind of previewed what we were going to do going into the season.
Is James Morton still involved with the ASCO?
He is.
Okay. I thought he was. I know that was him and Johnny Taylor. That was their baby for a long time.
That was really fun with the ASCO, at the hotel in the evenings with Coach Taylor. Coach Morton came in one night, and then, oh my goodness, just went blank on the Emerald High coach's name.
Dunham, Coach Dunham.
Yep, Chad and I sit there every night and just sit there and hang out and talk, and got to know each other really well, and felt like developed a friendship that will probably last for the rest of our lives, and from the ASCO game. So it was really fun. James
still has some very fond and strong connections to Monterey, and I know that just from knowing him like I do. That was a big part of his career, because he came here, and you mentioned this. What he did at Monterey was pretty impressive for, I don't even remember how long he was here.
Yeah. I can see how Monterey can get in your blood really fast. I've only been here for 2 years, and it's deep in my blood already. I'm super proud of it and the tradition, and to follow guys like Coach Morton, Coach Hutchison, and all the ones that have come before me. It's a special place.
And I'll vouch for you. I see you at Monterey stuff, so you're not just blowing smoke there. I see you're invested in the kids, not just football players, but the kids as athletes and people, and that's important.
I mean, this is a great school, and it's fun to go support those kids, going and watching our basketball teams and baseball, and just went and hung out with the band. Those kids they're all our kids. My football players, that's their friends, and that's who they're walking the halls with, and we're representing them when we put our football pads on, and then a bunch of those kids are going to be in the band or the cheer or things of those nature. So it's about the school, and it's fun to be part of.
And this came up last week. You got to spend some time with Jill Snyder before she rode off into the sunset. And one of the things she said when I went to talk to her is she was going to miss the basketball, of course. And, of course, when you win a state championship, there's going to be something to miss. But she also said, I'm going to miss being in the classroom and being with students that you get to see. She enjoyed seeing the kids that weren't her players.
Right.
So that's admirable that being a teacher and coach, that's still part of what you do. 7-5 for the Plainsville last year, went to the area round. We'll talk more about what they have coming back, what they have coming up this summer when we come back on the High School Fan Zone after this break on 100.7 The Score.
Bringing you the latest news from Monterey Athletics. This is the Plainsman Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back in. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is 100.7 The Score. We are in the Plainsman Fan Zone with Jason Sims, now going into his second season as the head coach at Monterey, his third year at Monterey total, correct? Am I right about it?
I got here right when spring football started, the year before.
But you were the OC for that first season.
Yes.
So, and a lot of success with that team with a guy who, knock on wood, you said he's been back here throwing. Luke Arrington, how did he say how it's going down there in God's country?
It sounds like it's going really well. He's fighting for that starting spot, and for sure one of their top two quarterbacks, and it's just going to be a redshirt freshman next year. I mean, he redshirted, so he'll be a redshirt freshman for eligibility. So, yeah, I've known he was going to go and succeed in whatever he did, just the type of character he has and work ethic, and how the Arringtons raised him and all their kids. He's going to be successful whatever he does in athletics and life.
No question. And in fact, you can say that about Sam and Maisie. I haven't met the youngest one yet. He's coming.
Yep.
He's a freshman this year.
He was a freshman this year. Will be a sophomore.
And is he a football guy?
No, I really wanted him to come out, but he decided to go basketball, and which I get it. Most of the Arrington family is a big basketball family, and
there's a little bit of a background there.
Yeah, a little bit of a background, and you can't fault them for that. You want the kids to do what they enjoy. The door's always open for him, though.
Was it you or Jonah, though, that told me that you tried to talk Sam in, like last minute last year? He was out there running routes.
Oh, I always tried to recruit him. It was when he was out there running routes for Arrington, and I know Jonah, that's his little group that he's running around with too. I'm sure they tried to recruit him the whole time. He would have been phenomenal. Yes,
and he found that I enjoyed watching your guys this last basketball season, the three amigos or whatever Josh called those three. For what they did from when they were sophomores, when that team struggled a little bit to get better and better. I hate that they had a bad shooting night in the playoffs, because in playoffs that's not going to do you much good. So
this group of this basketball team that Coach Davis put together this year was really fun to watch.
Yes.
Those guys played hard. They played good defense. They shot well, and like you said, they were cold that night, but they were scrappy. They bounced back, and you thought they were going to pull it off. It was just fun to watch.
You didn't, and I mentioned you showed up at a lot of stuff. You didn't really get a chance to exhale much because both basketball teams are doing what they do. And your girls' soccer team, I know, had a great season. Simon had a great season. So you were blowing and going once football ended. You may just now being able to kind of take a deep breath here.
Well, we paced it out. LISD's completely different, being like a small school AD where you're at everything. You're on the road. It's more designed where we can catch a lot of stuff when we're at home, because there's a lot of duties we have to do in town. I did hit the road on several occasions to go see things, but I didn't. I'm getting too old to burn the candle at both ends like that.
Preaching to the choir. You came along, and I think it's cool. I mentioned that Josh and Simon are old-timers. I say old-timers. They've been there a while, but there were several new coaches that came along. That's not just new head coaches, but you also, the LISD brought in a lot of the young former Plainsmen to fill out coaching staff. So even though you're still a fairly new guy at Monterey, you're getting used to people that are also kind of either getting used to coaching at the high school level or Chelsea being back. How the relationship with all those coaches, how has that been for you?
I love our relationship there. It was
Ralph's an old timer too. I should say that.
He's a veteran.
Yes.
It was fun to be involved with Coach Hunter in her first season, and you're going to face adversity and everything as a player, as a coach, and having the experience that I've had. There's multiple times we would sit down and me and her and Coach Jones would talk through certain situations, and I'm always going to share my 2 cents and throw it out there, but these coaches need to forge their own way and make their own decisions, and she does a great job, and it was fun to watch her first season and kind of overcoming some mid-season hurdles of her own and how she handled it. I was super proud of her.
And I should say Kelly Lozada's been there for a while, but I'm not going to call her an old timer because that sounds mean to say that.
Veteran.
She may be. I'll have to go back and check that. She may be there as long as anybody you've had at Monterey. And I've talked about this with these coaches. What's unique and I really love about the Monterey coaching staff is Krista's a Monterey graduate, Josh is a Monterey graduate, Chelsea, Josh. You got 4 head coaches of big sports that they wanted to come home. They wanted to come back and coach at their alma mater. You've talked about it's a special place. That tells you right there what that means to them.
100%. 100%. I think that I'm an outsider coming into Lubbock and getting into LSD and Lubbock sports, and you got a bunch of newer, fancier things that can detract from what is going on in Lubbock. But Monterey is still Monterey.
Yep.
And, Monterey has a mystique, and that mystique is still there, and it's fun to be a part of, and the people who are involved in it, from the coaches to the players right now to teachers, parents that love that Monterey system, because we have a track and we've got a lot of elementaries that feed into it. But there's a really good track that I have my daughter in from Miller to Evans to Monterey that is going to set my kids up for success. And we could have chosen to go anywhere. It's not like we were just we got to find a job. We wanted to move to Lubbock, and when we got here, we had a lot of opportunities, and we looked around and knew people that lived in Lubbock and said, where should we go? And Monterey was it. And so it's everything that it was built.
And that mystique's going to come in handy, because next year in that football district, that's not for the faint of heart. It was already tough enough.
Yeah.
Then you throw, I can't remember who said, Brad Bibb said this about in baseball. It's similar in football. You go from a great district you had 4 playoff teams and another one that was fighting for it at the end to you throw in Friendship, that's a perennial playoff team. Memorial, that's just going to keep getting better. Man, those Thursday and Friday nights are going to be something to behold in that district. It is.
It's going to be a dandy of a district. Lots of really good football teams, lots of really good coaches, and it's going to be fun to watch.
And because of realignment, not only that, you get to start pre-district with Coronado instead of playing them in district. So your schedule is going to look a little bit different, but there's going to be a lot of familiar faces for you guys.
100%. We're excited about that schedule. We know that it's going to be a challenge. We know that we're going to be able to compete with everybody, but it's going to be fun football.
Jason Sims going into year 2 officially as a head coach, and to me, the much smoother. Things are going to go a lot smoother, let's put it that way, and they went really well last year. So we'll be back after this break in the Panther Fan Zone. The Panther Fan Zone after this break.